I'm going to use the steel tube as a gantry, to which I'm going to loop another ratchet strap over the steel tube and then around the drum, and use the second ratchet strap to lift up the drum and hopefully get it back on there. So wish me luck. I have a high level of confidence that this will actually work. Don't quote me on that. We shall find out momentarily. It really wants to go on there. I can feel it. Let me tell you, it sure is nice to not have to resort to uncivilized antediluvian techniques. Does anybody have any idea what this thing is? What its actual purpose is? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. I guess if the brakes quit working on this thing, I can always stop Flintstone style. Yabba dabba doo! Man, when I took these wheels off of here, I was digging around in the snowbank to find my tools. Now it's blasted hot out here. Whew. I took this truck apart this spring to fix a stuck brake on it, and then it got put on the back burner when other more pressing projects came up. But now that winter is right around the corner, I need to start hauling my firewood, and I plan to use this truck. So I need to get on this thing and get it back together. Oh yeah, here we go. This thing has about a half a century worth of brake dust and grime built up on this spindle underneath the brakes here. So I'm gonna have to clean this thing up before I can even think about putting anything back together. I'm giving it a whirl with my new Harbor Freight die grinder and a synthetic brush on it. These brake shoes themselves actually look pretty good. There's a lot of pad left on them. It's just that the actuator cam and the pivot pin were so rusty inside of here that it was sticking and would not release the brakes on this drum. Once I cleaned it up and put some lube in there, I have a moderately high level of confidence that these brakes are going to actually work the way they're supposed to. Don't quote me on that. Now that I have all this dusty debris out of here, I'm using a little bit of fuel oil to clean up this spindle a little bit better. The pivots are pretty tight on these brake shoes, so I'm going to clean them up a little bit as well. Make sure they function properly. And now for some ceramic brake lube on these pivots. Make sure they don't freeze up on me again. And some more lube on this roller. There we go. I guess I need to connect these retaining springs to hold the bottom shoe on, since the force of gravity is going to be working against me on this one. And I'm putting a little lube on these pivots just like the other one. Try to keep them free and moving, not seizing up on me in the future. I'm going to prop this oil jug underneath the brake shoe in an attempt to keep it propped into position until I can get these springs connected between the shoes. I'm pretty sure this is going to work. These springs are pretty strong, so this ought to be fun. I do do believe this case calls for the old pry the spring with the screwdriver trick. Let's see if this is gonna work. The problem is there's nothing really to pry against in here, so I'm gonna shove this crowbar in there and pry against it. And well, you look at that. I actually got the spring on there. Nice. Popped into place. Now I need to get that back one on there. Figure out how I'm gonna get that one connected, what I'm gonna pry against. Looks to me like I can do it with the other end of the screwdriver, change my fulcrum angle, so to speak. And let's see if this is gonna work. Look at that, it just popped right in there. That's amazing, I can't believe it. Next on the list of things to do is put some of this lube on the lower brake shoe actuator cam roller. So here we go, let's get some lube on this baby and get it inserted where it needs to be. Now I need to figure out how to get this heavy duty retaining spring that goes between the upper and the lower brake shoes. Each shoe has a corresponding pin that the spring needs to connect to pull the brake shoes tight against the actuator cam. So I need to figure out how to get this thing in there. The retaining pins are in the middle of the shoes and not too easy to get to. They're kind of small. So I need to figure out how to get this spring in there. I'm sure there's some kind of special tool that probably can pop it right in there with minimal effort, but of course I don't have said tool. So need to figure this one out. Harumph. Nothing really to pry against inside of here. So I'm gonna get a little piece of wood and use that as a fulcrum to try to pry this thing into position. I have my little pry bar jammed in between the coils of the spring because I can't really get it up in there where the hook is on the spring to do anything. So this is the way I'm trying to move it, and my lumber fulcrum isn't working all that great, as you can see. Might need to rethink this. Let me take one more stab at it. My other pry bar was a little bit flimsy and it was bending too much. I'm gonna try this heavier duty one. It's a little fatter, so I can't jam it in between the coils. I'm gonna have to try to hook this little center section on the spring to see if I can pry it up in there. That blasted lower brake shoe keeps dropping down a little bit, and I don't seem to have the proper dunnage to hold it right in position. I think it's time to shift gears a little bit on this thing. I'm putting this ratchet strap around the brake shoes to hold that lower one into position, to take all the slack out of it, and hopefully that'll be just enough to get this spring back into position. Let's see what happens. It's really close to that post there. Just gotta go a tiny bit more. Need to readjust my pry bar between the coils. Get my little bigger, sturdier pry bar in there. Look at that. Oh yeah, got her in there. The old hold the brake shoes with the ratchet strap trick worked like a charm. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now the fun part. I need to figure out how to get this giant brake drum back on the spindle without damaging it. I took it off by myself and I could barely lift it to get it off of there. I'm afraid if I try to lift it on there by myself or even with another person, I might bounce around off of the spindle and damage those threads on there. And we can't have that. So, what to do? A small forklift would be handy if I had one of those. A floor jack would be great. I could lift it up with a floor jack and roll it in there. Maybe make some kind of a fixture to hang on to it. But being on the dirt here, a floor jack's not going to roll very good. An engine hoist would be great. I could pick it up, get it lined up, and roll it in pretty as you please, and put it together no problem. Unfortunately, I have the same problem with the dirt floor. An engine hoist won't roll on it, not to mention the box being right on top of the area where I'm working. So there's no way my engine hoist would work for this. After some careful thought and deliberation, I've come up with a strategy to mount this extremely heavy drum back onto the spindle. My plan is to use this heavy-duty Harbor Freight 2-inch ratchet strap to secure this steel tube in a horizontal position. I'm shoving the inner edge to rest on the frame, and I'm going to grab the outer end with the hook of the ratchet strap. I'm going to use the steel tube as a gantry, to which I'm going to loop another ratchet strap over the steel tube and then around the drum, and use the second ratchet strap to lift up the drum and hopefully get it back on there. So wish me luck. Here we go with my second ratchet strap. I need to get it rigged up. Going over my makeshift gantry and down to my super heavy brake drum. It's becoming apparent to me that if I lift it with this ratchet strap, the hub is just going to flip right out of it and I'm going to end up nowhere. So I'm going to take this little ratchet strap and I'm going to loop it around the top of the bigger strap and to the lug nut to secure it, keep it from flipping over. That'll keep it centered and in the right position. I have a high level of confidence that this will actually work. We shall find out momentarily. So far it seems to be coming off the ground decently. I'm gonna get rid of this extra strap here. These Harbor Freight heavy-duty straps are really long. I don't need to be tripping over this strap while I'm trying to work here. And there we go, coming up nicely off the ground. So now the first wrinkle has developed in my plan. The ratchet mechanism has as much strap on it as it can handle. So I'm going to get another strap to take the load off of it so I can reset the ratchet mechanism and pull all that excess strap off the ratchet mechanism. Then I can lift it some more. Here we go. Well, that seemed to work pretty good. Get this second strap out of here and now it's lifting like a champ. Looks real nice. Well, we're getting pretty close in here. I think I can start sliding this drum down my makeshift gantry over towards the spindle. It really wants to go on there. I can feel it. yeah, look at that. Look at that. Right on there. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, my contraption actually worked. Did anybody think it would? I had my doubts about it, but it actually worked pretty good. The old ratchet straps and my contraption did all right. Does anybody have any idea what this thing is? What its actual purpose is? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Time to put these wheel bearings back in there. Got a good amount of oil on them. When I took this truck apart back in the spring, the pin that connects the brake actuator lever to the air cylinder was rusted on there so tight that I couldn't get it out. And I couldn't get at my torches because they were buried in the back of the garage, and the torch cart had flat tires. So I ended up cutting the arm from the air cylinder to the brake actuator lever. That rusted in pin got left into the brake actuator arm, and now I need to get it out of there because I need to put the new brake cylinder on there with a new pin. And I managed to get my torches dug out from the back of the garage, and I got the tires aired up, so I was able to wheel the torch cart out here so I can heat this pin up and remove it in a more civilized manner. No more antediluvian techniques here. Not today. Nice to be able to strike the flint, get the torch going, heat it up, get it nice and red hot, loosen things up so you don't have to resort to cutting or drilling and pounding and pullers and penetrants, all that kind of stuff. Just strike the flint, get her hot, and take it apart. That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah.
All right, got it.
Time to turn my attention to this new air cylinder. I'm gonna have to shorten up this ram on here, so I'm gonna bring out the old one and measure it and cut it the same as the old one. I'm running this jam net down here so I can chase the threads after I cut this thing. That way I don't have any trouble getting the yoke on there. Guess I need to get this caging tool in there, pull the ram back so I can get it installed. There we go. she is, installed and ready to go. These tires are not in the best of shape, but that's all I got right now, so I'm going to put these back on there so I can try it out and make sure everything's working the way it should. Give her a little road test. Houston, we have a problem. My dunnage from when I jacked this thing up is sticking out too far, and it's not letting the tire seat all the way on the rim. So I'm gonna have to jack this truck up and move my dunnage so I can get this wheel on there all the way. Oh joy. Okay, got her jacked up, got my dunnage moved out of the way. Now I need to slip this dually ring in there, get the outside wheel back on. Having a hard time getting her lined up with the old pry bar, but looking at it, I'm thinking my special tool might work good for this. And look at that, popped it right on there. Here's another look at my special tool. Has anybody figured out what it is yet? Put it in the comments if you know what it is, or if you want to take a stab at guessing at it. The outside tire on this side of the truck's been going flat for years, even before I parked it. So I decided to borrow one of the tires off of one of my logging trucks to put on it for now, just to get me going. Man, when I took these wheels off of here, I was digging around in the snowbank to find my tools. Now it's blasted hot out here. Whew. I guess I'm gonna have to do something about this floorboard in this truck one of these days before the seat falls through and I end up with my butt dragging on the ground. Well, here it is, the moment of truth. guess if the brakes quit working on this thing, I can always stop Flintstone style. Yabba dabba doo! There's another view of my Flintstone backup brakes. Air brake test. Oh yeah, working good.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Thumbs up, baby.
Call this operational check ride complete. The air brakes seem to be working as advertised. Oh yeah.